Hey folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Thursday, February 6th. Apologize for the lateness of this. Had some technical difficulties, and then I had to get checked out of my hotel here in New Orleans as I am traveling home tonight. And so we'll be an on the road afternoon drive from parts unknown. We'll see where I'm at when Smitty gives me the call, and I'll pull over and we'll do it right there. Should be fun. Last day here at the Super Bowl, wrapping things up from New Orleans. One thing I want to address is a question I got on the YouTube platform here from Crow 1974, which, if that's your birthday, Crow, that makes you an old crow, which is a disgusting brand of bottom shelf uh, whiskey. If the Steelers were trying to trade for Brandon Ayuk from the Niners and pay him, why wouldn't they go out and pay a lot of money for a receiver this year? Wasn't his deal going to be like $28 to $30 million a year? Yeah, I keep seeing this idea spread around from people that the Steelers are like skeptical that the Steelers are going to be big players in free agency this year. And I don't really understand it. Yeah, the Steelers traditionally have not been big players in free agency. The Steelers have not traditionally been in a situation where they're going to enter the offseason with the ability to create $60 million in cap space. And not only that, their cash spending has been at a dip. So, like the cap is the real rule, right? But we know that you can manipulate the salary cap so that the numbers kind of move around from year to year and different things happen, right? But the real the cash has to eventually line up. Like everything you spend, you have to eventually account for. It's just you can kind of do some accounting sometimes. But so sometimes you go through periods where your cap hit is higher than your cash spending, and sometimes it's the inverse, right? So like if you sign a bunch of players to new contracts, let's say you sign like $100 million contract to three guys, right? Well, you're probably only that year spending the way you structure the contracts, you could be spending the veteran minimum on those contracts, and then some maybe you spend 10 million each on those three guys under the salary cap. But cash spending, you have to have a lot more because they're going to want those signing bonuses that get prorated over time in the cap. They want that money up front, or usually somewhere near up front. And so the Steelers are in a situation where not only their cash spending has been low, they actually need to spend cash to meet the threshold, okay, this offseason, and they have a ton of cap space. I can't remember the Steelers being in this situation. And on top of all of that, they don't have any of their own players they want to sign to extensions. Usually, the Steelers don't get in this situation because they draft really well, and then they re-sign their own players to contract extensions before they get to free agency, and they don't have any money for free agents. So the Steelers are in a place they haven't been in a while before. It's because they haven't been drafting well recently, and they're in a situation where they almost have to spend a whole lot of money this offseason, both in cash and cap space. And they're going to do it. There's no reason that they're like, it's not a matter of cheapness. Like you have to spend the money. Every team has to spend 90% of the salary cap. They don't have an option like in baseball to not spend the money. They have to, and they're going to. And so the only way they can spend the money, they're not going to. I mean, who would you sign to a contract extension? I don't even. George Pickens, I guess, is one. I don't think that's very likely to happen. Calvin Austin, like I don't know. Where else are you spending the money this offseason besides being very active in the free agent market? As our old Crow friend said, they were going to spend $30 million a year on Brandon Ayuk last year. They wanted to have that on the books already. Yeah, they'll do that for T. Higgins. They'll probably do that for Chris Godwin or for Devontae Adams. Now, maybe not on as long a term a deal for like an older guy like Adams, but yeah, they're absolutely going to spend a lot of money in free agency. Cornerback, especially, is very good class free agents. I expect them to be very active in there. I had a couple people mention Javon Hargrave. I'm a little skeptical with defensive tackle just because how good the draft class is at that position. I think they will be able to find one of those. But yeah, there's no reason to think that the Steelers aren't going to spend a whole lot of money this offseason. I believe I said on Afternoon Drive, I'll say it here too. The Steelers set a record with their largest free agent contract in team history last year when they gave it to Patrick Queen. That record will be broken this year. I am nearly certain of it. They are going to go find somebody to spend a whole lot of money on. And certainly in terms of the highest paid offensive free agent they've ever gotten, I think you should absolutely expect that as well. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know why people think that this is not going to happen, but it almost has to at this point. There's not really any other way about it. So I got for right now. Again, apologize for the tardiness. This will be back with more with Smitty around 6 usual time for afternoon drive. And then, stick with SteelersNow.com for more from the Super Bowl. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, enjoy.